The first day of trade for the XRP ETF is over. Were we able to beat Solana? This is the most important subject of our time. I'd like to tell you about the play hour by hour. Right before the end, I'll tell you everything we saw today, including the type of number we saw. Brad Garlinghouse said in a message on a video of Eric Bahamas that it is finally happening. XRPC, the first XRP exchange-traded fund, ETF, that Canary Capital's launched. 26 million with your help during the first 30 minutes. It's true that the XRP army showed up. Paul Barron says that the XRPC ETF will do very well on its first day. Canary funds should be praised. 26 million people watched the first 30 minutes. On the second day, fans tried to beat the 57 million number by watching more than the first day. Here you are now. At this very time, Stephen McClurg, CEO of Canary Capital, is being questioned about the first trade and the events that were taking place. It's Thursday today. We are going to talk in more depth about the trade that has happened in XRPC so far. Without a doubt, that is way too early for that. What has the first trade looked like up to this point? We've only been keeping track for a short time since the market opened. That's right. Because of this, we expect a much higher number than the 20 million we've seen in the first 15 minutes. In-kind won't show up in the number, but it will show up in the AUM at the end of the day. Crypto ETFs can now be bought with in-kind. We can talk about this some more if you'd like, but I think you already know this. We are going to keep talking about let's keep going with this. I need to show you a lot of other things, and we should look at them before lunch. XRP has reached a number of 1.678 million ETF shares so far. If it keeps going up to 42 million by the end of the closure, it will have reached about 80 million. Right now, at lunchtime, most people think that we could hit as many as 80 million. Without a doubt, we did not reach that goal, and I will show you why in a moment. I did want to show you some of these purchases, though. There were a lot of purchases in this area. $7.3 million worth of things were bought. The price of XRP needs to go up, so we need to find the type of supply that was talked about above. It is clear that this is just one example of the dozen exchange-traded funds that want to get big with the help of institutional support. As time goes on, we expect demand to grow much more, but the first day looks like it will be very profitable. Not too long ago, 313,943 at a price of 7.8 million bucks. I think it will be very interesting to see how these decisions change over time. Is it going to be 30 billion, 40 billion, or 50 billion? Where this level of buying is happening is where we hope to see more of this thing being bought. Okay, and then 2 hours before the market closed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they had reached 1.878 million ETF share volume, which is about 46 million. Because of this, it was definitely slowing down as afternoon came around. Now, here it is. These are the two biggest sales that were made in the first 30 minutes. Once we saw them, we added the 7.3 million and the 7.8 million together. The XRP ETF is not getting enough attention from people, which is not right. Please give me one more. There were a lot of people who didn't think that the community retail investors or large investors would show up to support the exchange-traded fund. That these people have come forward to say they were wrong about XRP is really great, you know. I also think that in the days to come, we will show them what kind of stuff we are made of. Finally, here's James Sayoff, whose last name I can't say properly. There have been 2.5 hours of day trade, and the Canary Fund's XRP has already gone over 46 million. That being said, this is likely to be one of the best releases of 2025, and it might even beat Basol to the top spot. We are driven by the need to beat Basol. On the other hand, Chad Steingraber did add something to the conversation about wrapped XRP, which includes Binance Chain. As for how useful this is, I'm not sure, but we'll at least cross liquidity and link the chain. I just thought I'd add that not only is your cryptocurrency having a bad day, but the whole cryptocurrency market is having a trouble day. As Bitcoin has dropped below 100,000, more than $3 billion worth of assets have been sold. Because of this, the real crypto market is very red and not appealing on the same day that we are trying to set a record for a spot XRP ETF. It was only 10 minutes left, and we had already hit 2.2 million XRPC. With 30 minutes left until the deadline, Chad Steingraber says the amount is $55 million. You start to wonder if BlackRock will ever start to offer these goods and services, especially since now there are so many other ETFs that meet this need. Don't forget that BlackRock chose to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum because their clients, customers, and consumers who already have money with BlackRock ask them to. At this point, the word pressured might not be the best one to use. You can call, email, text, or hang up the phone if you have a brokerage account at one of these bigger banks and haven't seen them make a move for spot XRP goods yet. You need to let your broker or bank know that you want XRP goods. I'm not sure how you do that. Do you get it? Today is the first day of XRPC, and the market has closed about 56,476,000 times. So far, it looks like the total daily volume is about 2,258,800 XRPC. In light of this, how does this compare to BSOL? It looks like the first one. I just wanted to put these two next to each other to see how they compare. We did beat Solana, that's for sure. Doesn't it feel great? This is because we've recently seen a lot of Solana community members who don't believe in XRP targeting the XRP community. This shows that the XRP army is strong even when the markets are falling. Just think about what would happen if we got 7, 8, 9, or more ETFs. It's possible that this will become very interesting. The biggest Solana ETF is now trying to increase the value of Solana by 7% and reach 100% invested. In addition, the most interesting part of this is the BSOL ETF. I think it didn't charge any fees at first to get people to join. Anyway, James Sire continues, it looks like XRP has had the most trading in a single day of any ETF that has been released since 2025. The fact that it barely beats BSOL by 57 million on a day when the market is down like today is quite an accomplishment. They are finally becoming aware of them. Is that right? We are getting what we deserve from them. They're finally starting to understand what we've known for a long time. And my goodness, we haven't even talked about how this can be used in real life yet. If you get my meaning, what will happen when everyone finds out that XRP is the world's bridge asset? And of course, you already know that all of their assets will be used. This includes fixed coins, Ethereum, slots, and everything else. But when people finally understand that Bitcoin isn't the only thing out there, Ethereum will not be the only thing left. XRP. This will make a lot of big investors aware of XRP, which is good for the price. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are to look at now. On the left side of this paper, you can see the organizations that handle money. These numbers show where their exchange-traded funds, ETFs, stand right now. They are either accepted or pending. Of course, the amount of money that is being managed is 200 million. This is how much money Canary Capital controls. As a result, it is somewhat small. When thinking about some of these bigger organizations, picture a setting where if you use Bitwise, is the amount 5 billion? If you use shares at 7, is it 21 billion? In fact, Franklin Templeton has 1.7 trillion, CoinShares has 5 billion, and Grayscale has 40 billion. Anyone can guess that the approval will come at any time from now on. Between November 14th and November 18th is the time frame in question. Because of this, you should be ready for it. It might happen tomorrow or maybe on Monday. It's only a matter of days or hours until it comes out, which makes it even more exciting. Without a doubt, they will put it out whenever they think is the best time to do so. It's time to go. That's fine. That being said, I wanted to give you some more information about Solana ETFs so that you could get a better idea of what's going on. As someone who has traded in cryptocurrencies for a long time, I'm sure you may have a bit of everything. I also don't want to say anything bad about Solana. I think that Solana will be very helpful in the coming days. However, I can't help but feel that my competitive nature is showing in this situation. And of course, I want XRP to be number one. So right now, there are two places where trading is going on. Solana's trading and trading in Solana ETFs in the US. With the help of Bitwise processes, Beasley and Grayscale right now, only Solana Trust and 2 other Solana staking ETFs have been approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. However, many more are waiting for the SEC to give their approval and will be released soon. Since they first came out on October 28th, the amount of money that has been put into these ETFs has been slowly going up. Following the most recent news, the current amount of capital invested is around $350 to $420 million. Each of the 2 exchange-traded funds has had money coming into it for 11 or 12 days in a row. Because of this, we will be adding more and more every day if things go the way Solana says they will. Think about the fact that there are other organizations that aren't on this list. In fact, they keep adding more and more. There is a good chance that this situation will get very wild very quickly. At